All right, you may be seated. Our church at 10:30 is small, and by 10:45 it's halfway there. And I'm living on a prayer at that point. And then by 11:10 we kind of start filling up. I know one times we had like giveaways at the early just to try to get people to change patterns, but maybe we'll do that again. What time does church start? 10 o'clock. Guess what time I'm here? 8:45. So there you go. Some of you aren't even up by 8:45. Who was up by 8:45? Put up your hand. Who wasn't even up by 8:45? Yeah, that's right. Who was up at 5:30? Oh, you guys were all praying for me. That's what was going on. Thank you. So we're going to jump into a two-part little mini-series. Pastor Jim did a great two-part series the last 2 weeks. And man, if you missed it, you want to go watch on YouTube about ministry gifts. And he made a big announcement last week. And so if you missed it, go listen. You're going to have to listen to it to find out what it was. But it was really good teaching, solid teaching. And so another two-part mini-series here. Brad doesn't know this yet, but he's going to be ministering the beginning of December, and we've got some of our schedule worked out here going into Christmas. I didn't put this in the announcements, I forgot, but we are going to have a Christmas Eve service this year. Amen. So for those of us that have been doing it for a while, it's become tradition, and we've had arguments over whether to have candles during the singing for candlelight service because it's traditional, because last year some people spilt on our brand new chairs or our newer chairs, and so... But I said, I don't know, I'm not usually traditional, but having candles while singing just means something. So we're going to have candles. Maybe we'll try to be a little more careful there on the chairs. But yeah, it's going to be a great time. We set it up different, so that's a great time to invite family and friends. I think 8 o'clock on Christmas Eve service. So that's a little bit in advance, but just thought I'd let you know. All right, who here likes to eat out? Bob all of a sudden joined the service. He's like, that's me, right? Bob's been paying attention. Who eats out maybe like a couple times a month? Once a week? Once a week, 3 to 4 times a week, anybody? Don't put up your hand. Right? Maybe you're a single parent, yeah, and you get busy and you're working, you have no time. Yeah, Sam put up her hands. So like, you don't have a lot of time, so it's like, let's just eat out, right? Or maybe you're a bachelor, bachelorette, and you're by yourself, and so 3 to 4 times a week you eat out. And I know I've mentioned this before, but I'm holding this bag here of McDonald's food. And once in a while, in our weakest moments as a family, we order McDonald's. Because it's convenient, it's easy. But there is nothing like the conviction internally and the struggle with yourself of going to McDonald's. And recently they've been understaffed, and so they've only had their drive-thru open at times. And so there's nothing like the struggle within yourself of waiting in line at McDonald's drive-thru. Because we all know, like, it feels kind of, even as a Christian, like you're not, your body's a temple, the Holy Ghost, I'm putting this in, And even if you pray for your food, kind of like, God, do what you can with this, because, it's going to take a miracle to, And so, but having, you want to go through the drive-thru, get the food, get out of there as quick as you can before anyone can see you, right? And when you have to sit there and you're waiting for 5-10 minutes, and it's just like, oh, who sees me? And this is supposed to be fast food. And then when Jen Ward used to work there, I don't know where she is right now. And then I was like, man, we have to stop going to McDonald's because Jen will know when we're there and she'll judge for sure. So then, you go to the window, oh, thank goodness Jen Ward's not there. And then you sneak out. But I don't know if this has happened to you, because I want to get in and out of there as fast. So I get the food, I'm like, we're going home, and you bring it home, and then you get home and you're unloading it. When you have 3 kids, you got bigger orders and stuff, and you go through and you're laying it out, and all of a sudden you realize they forgot something. So already you've gathered your energy and kind of, hardened your heart to your conscience to go to McDonald's, and then you have the struggle, especially if it's one of your kids' things they ordered. Do I go back and go through the drive-thru again, because remember the restaurant was closed, and sit there again and have to get to the window or the little intercom and reorder something? And take the time and go through that. That's always a struggle. And so maybe you're not a fast food person. Maybe you like the fancier stuff, right? And so maybe you've ever been on a romantic date, a significant other, your spouse, and you get a table in the back where it's quiet and they have candles there and you've got this night planned and it's amazing, and so everything's going well, and the waiter or waitress comes over and asks you, what are you going to order? And you order a steak, medium rare, not well done or burnt, because those aren't good steaks. And then you get the double baked potato, and your wife gets lobster and shrimp with a vegetable medley, and it's amazing and it's so good, and it comes and you cut into your steak and you wanted medium rare, but it's well done. And then the waiter or waitress comes and always asks that inevitable question, and depending on your personality is how you respond to it. They come and say, how's everything tasting? And how many of you raise the flag and announce to the restaurant, this is not how I wanted it cooked? How many of you are those people? Take it back, I ordered this. Or you ordered a double baked potato and it came single baked. I don't even know if that's a thing. Sometimes I feel single baked or double, I don't know, I don't want to get into that. But then you say or maybe you're one of those personalities that depending on how bad it is, you don't say anything there, but you're like, I'm never coming back again if it's really bad. You say, oh, it's fine, and you just eat it, right? But you have that struggle at that moment. Am I going to reorder something I've already ordered in order to get it right? How many of you have ever reordered something? I do want to welcome everybody online. I'm actually tuned into Facebook. Tanika's at the back. I don't know if she's interacting with YouTube. Put her on the spot. But if you make some comments, I'm going to ask you to interact today. You can make some comments and I'll respond to that. But if you've had to reorder something, see, sometimes in life, like ordering food, we have plans, we have directions, we have things that we think we ordered our life a certain way. Or if when we were younger, we go, man, I'd like to be this when I grow up. A fireman. You hear that a lot. And so maybe you had a plan or an order for your life, and maybe you, like me, you sometimes get somewhere and you think, we aren't where we thought we would be. How about this? We thought we would be a millionaire. We would be millionaires and own our own company by 25, but we're still 30 and living in our parents' basement. The order didn't go as we thought. How about this? We thought we'd have a master's degree, and be the CEO of a company, but we're 5 years past where we temporarily dropped out of university, and we work in the cubicle of a CEO of a company, for the CEO of a company. Not the order we thought. We thought we'd have a spouse and 7 kids by now, and instead we have a roommate and 7 cats. Scott has cats. No, he doesn't. So what we ordered for our life, what we thought we're supposed to be doing, hasn't come to pass in what we're living. And so for some of us, we may actually have to possibly go back and think about it again and possibly reorder some things in order to get there. If you have some plans, you have some dreams, you had some things, you might have to reorder some stuff. Or maybe if you're a Jesus follower today, if you have a Jesus follower in this place, which I think we have a lot, and somebody watching online, then there's a plan that God has for you, a certain order of how to do some things. And we're going to talk about an order or maybe a reordering, not only for our lives, but for City Center Church. Pastor Jim's been talking about new wineskins. And so I believe there's some reordering that we have to do, and we're going to look at that today and for next Sunday and really jump into this as we go into this Christmas season. So I thought, who better to reorder or look at reordering a life than the person we are all supposed to be following, Jesus. And so John, one of his disciples, a person that was really close to Jesus, wrote his account and his experiences with Jesus and being discipled by him. And he jumps into this account and he's talking about the time early in Jesus' ministry when John the Baptist, a different John, was a forerunner for Jesus and telling everyone, hey, he's coming, get ready. And John the Baptist has been baptizing some people. We had baptism a few Sundays ago. And Jesus and his disciples are coming in and they start baptizing people. And like we see today, there's actually an argument over kind of who's baptizing more. Or like Jesus and his disciples. And so Jesus hears this and says, I just don't want to get involved with this. I don't want to cause conflict. And so he says, I'm going to leave and go to a different part and minister. And so we're jumping into John here in this account. So John 4, 1-4 in the Good News Translation. It'll come up on the screen wherever you're watching from today. Pause while I take a drink. Here we go, John 4, 1-4. The Pharisees heard that Jesus was winning and baptizing more disciples than John. Actually, Jesus himself did not baptize anyone, only his disciples did. So when Jesus heard what was being said, he left Judea and went back to Galilee. On his way there, he had to go. Look at your neighbor and say, he had to go. If you're watching today, why don't you type in, he had to go. Type in that and I'll look at it and I'll respond. Let me know you're engaging today. He had to go through Samaria. He had to. I like the King James. It says this, must needs. Have you ever had to must needs do something? I like that. Must needs go through Samaria. It's the Greek word DEI. It's actually pronounced die. I looked at it. I thought it was D, and I was like, okay, maybe something about dying to yourself. But it means this. It is necessary. There is need of. It behooves. I love that word. It behooves you. Who's used that word lately? Most are like horses, cows, hooves, I don't know. Behooves or is right and proper. Listen, there might be times it is necessary for you to go there, but not to go there. There might be other times that it is necessary or important that you do this, but not do that. It may behoove you to keep this relationship while getting rid of this kind of one-night stand. It might be right and proper you quit this job and take this other job. It was necessary, it might be necessary for you to go through Samaria. Have you ever had a have-to moment? A necessary, a moment like that? I had to change my eating habits or else I was going to have problems with my health. I felt it necessary, it behooved me to forgive someone. The right and proper thing to do was to quit drinking. It was not helping the relationships in my life. I felt the need or necessity to end this relationship. I must needs pray. Things you may have had to do. I've got an example of feeling like I must needs pray. This is when I have two stories of carpet cleaning. I carpet cleaned back in the day. And it's a fun experience. I got to meet lots of people. So the way it was, we'd go into the shop and get prepped in the morning, and then you'd get your job list of what you had. So there was this one job I went to, and I walked in, and it was in an apartment complex, so I had to haul all the gear up. And I walk in, and there's this gentleman who was clearly dealing with some health issues. And his legs were swollen. I don't know, it was some circulation thing, were really big and red and had lots of problems, and he couldn't move very well. And what had happened is he was not able to get out of his bed in time to use the bathroom, and he peed in his bed. And so I was there to clean up his mattress and stuff. And so I'm cleaning his mattress, and man, I was just telling to my wife and my kids, the reason why we don't have pets is because I have seen some things that pets can do to houses and had to clean it that would just blow your mind. So that's why we don't have pets at this time. Maybe it still haunts me a little bit. But I was cleaning, and in the middle of cleaning, I felt that I was behooved to pray for this guy. I felt necessary. It was a had to. And so I'm cleaning. And I don't know about you when you're younger, if you've ever felt that. The struggle of like, well, what if he thinks I'm weird and all this. And I'm going through. And it was the slowest I've ever cleaned a mattress. God, I don't know if I can do this. And I could just feel that need to pray. And so I went through the whole process, did the final bill, walked out unloaded, and I did not pray. Shame. Right? And as I got into the van, I said, God, I missed it. I knew I had to, must needs do this. And I said, if you somehow give me another opportunity, I'll pray. So, I mean, that's all I could do. So I left it. Well, 1 week later, I'm going through my job list, and this address is on there again. I'm like, what is happening? Because that rarely happens unless you've done something wrong and they call you back. So I was kind of like, oh, what's going on? So I go there again, and the accident had happened again. But this time, he's not alone. His care worker was there. So there's two people, and I'm like, this is going to be even harder now to step in and do this. And so I'm cleaning again, and I'm struggling with it. And then finally, I just said, I think it was at the end, I said, hey, I'm a Christian, and I just felt like I have to pray for you. Can I do it? And I found out they were near Elam, and they're like, we go to Elam. They were Christians. They were so excited about it. So I prayed for him, prayed healing, and that God would touch him, and then left. And I think a couple weeks later, got another call to this job, and I'm like, what's going on? So I go there, and this time it wasn't for the mattress. It was just to do some of the carpets in the house. And when I came in, he was so excited. He comes up to me and he says, I am off about 70% of my medication. I'm walking better. I'm having way less problems. And so he goes, I wanted you to come clean just so I could tell you that. Now, that's not me. It's just, but I think if I didn't feel like I must needs pray, that life wouldn't have been impacted. So Jesus had to go through Samaria. That word go means to go through, to pass through. He was on his way to somewhere else, but he felt he had to go through Samaria. Now, I'm not a big history buff or not as good as geography as Pastor Jim is. He knows where everything is. But from my understanding, it's true. Him and Chris Ward would talk, and I'd just be like, I don't know where anybody exists. Like, they knew every topographical line of everything, and the waves and oceans and everything. So hopefully I'm right, but Google helps me out. But from my understanding, when he says he must needs go through Samaria, if you're going from Galilee to Judea, the logical, most direct northern route is through Samaria. So you go, well, why was Jesus feeling compelled to go through Samaria? Why is it like a must needs? Isn't he going there? That's because there was some strong cultural and racial tensions between the Samaritans and the Jews. So much so that the Jews would take the longer southernmost route to go from Judea to Galilee to just skip Samaria altogether. And the reason being is because I think it was Assyrian captivity in like 721 BC. They came and captured the northern kingdom of Israel. And during that captivity, when they started to leave, some Jews stayed back and intermingled and intermarried with some of the Assyrians, which is a no-no in Jewish culture, or, you're supposed to stay together. And so they were actually mixed race, not full. And so the Jews looked down on them for that. And then number two, they argued over where God dwelt. The Jews thought he dwelt in Mount Ararat in Jerusalem. And the Samaritans thought like Mount something. Let me get it. I have it. in Shechem. Mount Gerizim in Shechem. So they actually argue over where the presence and God dwelt. And so there's some tension there to the point that they would go a longer indirect route to skip it. So something was happening here when Jesus, it said he must needs go through Samaria. Something was important about that. And so John 4, 5-6, we're coming to this part where he's now going, and it says, in Samaria he came to a town named Sychar, which was not far from the field that Jacob had given to his son Joseph. Jacob's well was there, and Jesus, tired out by the trip, sat down by the well. It was about noon. So Jesus and his disciples have been traveling. I looked up the distance between Judea and Galilee, and maybe Pastor Jim knows it off by heart. There was a broad range of people saying how long it would be, depending on where you go. Probably about 3 days journey, I don't know, of walking. It was pretty broad, and so I can't tell you. But he was tired. It was noon. It was the heat of the day, and Jesus sits down at the well. And I don't know about you, but I'm gonna not assume some stuff by what John writes here, because I think we assume when it said Jesus has to go through Samaria, that he immediately knew that he was going to go to Samaria, he was going to sit on the edge of a well, and a Samaritan woman was going to be there. But I don't know if that's absolutely the case. It doesn't indicate that here. All it indicates is the reason why Jesus sat down at this well is because he was tired. He was tired. See, I think this is what Jesus knew, that he had to go through Samaria. He believed he had to go through Samaria. When I prayed for that guy, I didn't know what was going to happen. All I knew is I had to pray for him. He knew he had to pass through this way. Notice John didn't say, and then he sat down to talk to a woman that he had to meet. No, all it says is he had to go through Samaria. And so Jesus sat down because he's tired. See, listen, sometimes I think that when God gives us a have to or a must needs, we might miss going through it because we won't act if we don't know why or God wants us to do that or follow that. And so we kind of get caught up in the why instead of just obeying the go. See, I believe God wanted me to say this to someone. Some of you may have been in a circumstance or dealing with a circumstance that you're wondering, why am I still going through this? Or maybe, why am I dealing with this circumstance? And trying to solve the why when we should be asking the question, God, what do you want me to do in Samaria? Does that make sense? Because we get caught up in the why and go, oh my goodness, why? And all I believe Jesus knew is he said, I have to go through Samaria. And when he sat down at the well, the why kind of came in a moment as he encountered it. But if we get caught up in all the whys, we will never go, what are we supposed to do while in Samaria? Or we'll never go through Samaria. Because we won't want to, because we'll get stuck up in the why. So we're looking for answers to why do we must needs have to go through Samaria instead of saying, what do you have to do in Samaria? And so Jesus gets to Samaria. It's a long journey. He sits down by a well because he's tired and most likely thirsty. John 4:7-8 will continue. A Samaritan woman came to draw some water, and Jesus said to her, give me a drink of water. His disciples had gone into town to buy food. So they're tired, they're hungry, they're thirsty. The disciples say, hey, we'll go get some food and we'll bring back something to probably draw water out of the well with, because I don't think, you'd bring your own thing to draw water out of the well with. And so there's two things going on here that are kind of breaking norms or a little bit out of the ordinary. One could be the fact that Jesus didn't ask politely. He's like, give me a drink of water, right? You could say, please. But that's not what I'm talking about here. Jesus says, give me a drink of water. And there's two norms that are being broken or kind of being reordered here. First is he's talking to a woman. And if you're unsure of that, verse 27 says when his disciples come back, it says this, they're surprised he's talking to a woman. So I don't know if it was, I think asking or saying, give me a drink, wasn't it? It was the fact that he was engaging in conversation with the woman. As a rabbi, as a man in the culture of the time, that wasn't always the case. Now, before you freak out and be like, well, what, is there a, gender stereotype with men up here? No, Jesus came and crushed those stereotypes. And if you want to know, we can get into it from who was first to the tomb at the resurrection. It was ladies, to the fact that when you hear the story of Mary and Martha, and Martha's going around working, Mary's sitting at the feet of Jesus. For a rabbi to sit and teach while a woman was sitting there listening is unheard of the time. So there's some revolutionary stuff Jesus did to propel equal rights for that, if you want. So I don't want to get into that today. But in this case, he was breaking norms, cultural norms, to talk to a woman. So that's the first thing he did. The second thing he was doing was breaking kind of religious norms, because as Jews and Samaritans, they did not interact. They did not interact. This was something a Jew wasn't supposed to do. So I love this. Jesus was not afraid to engage with those outside cultural or religious norms. Jesus was not afraid to engage with those outside cultural or religious norms. Thank you, Shelley. And so he engages her, and verse 9 and 10, he continues there. And he says this, the woman answered, John says this, you are a Jew and I'm a Samaritan. How can you ask me for a drink? Jews will not use the same cups and bowls that Samaritans use. So you see a bit of how they see them. They won't share cups and bowls that Samaritans use. Jesus answered, if you only knew what God gives and who it is that is asking you for a drink, you would ask him and he would give you life-giving water. This is where I learned that Jesus would have made a good politician. Because she asks what apparently I would think is a very straightforward question. And he gives an answer where you're like, did you actually answer that? Or did you kind of just, go through the talking points? It seems like, how is it you can give me a drink of water? And then he goes on this thing where two of the points are like, I don't get that. And I think all she probably heard, like I read out of that, it says, if you only knew God gives this, and you would ask him, but he ends up with saying this, would give you life-giving water. That's what she latched onto. Say, what now, life-giving water? And I like this picture because she sort of asks a life-taking question. She says this, how is it that you're willing to give me a drink? Or how is it that you ask me for a drink? She's asking it from a position of life that's feeling less than, is feeling unvalued, is feeling, because of who she is, she's kind of feeling like it's a life-taking, she has a life sort of taking, a lessening position when she goes, you shouldn't even, how is it you're even asking me? She comes in at this almost shame level of who she is. And I love that because she sort of asks a life-taking question like, I'm not important, my life is, I don't have a lot to offer. And Jesus answers with life-giving. He says, you will give you life-giving water. Jesus provoked her with an answer that gave her hope, purpose, and that she didn't have to go through life feeling like that. And here's where I'm jumping into kind of the heart of what I have today. Listen, if Jesus would have not must needs go through Samaria, if he would not have had to, if it wasn't a necessity, if he wasn't feeling like it behooved him to do this and it was right and proper, I fully believe this. If Jesus would not have been willing to go through Samaria, then this woman would have never been reached. Because this Samaritan woman was never going to come to Jesus and his disciples. It wasn't culturally appropriate. It wasn't religiously appropriate. Because of the religious and cultural norms, this is not something she would have done. Listen, church, I believe there's some people, because of cultural and religious norms or different things or hurts and different stuff, they will never come into the doors of this church. Because they don't feel like they belong, because they've been hurt, they don't believe in God. There's just no reason for them to come to the doors of the church, or there's something hindering coming into the doors of the church. They will never come. So guess what, church? We must needs go. It behooves us to be able to go. It is the right and proper thing for us to be able to go. Come on, look at someone today and say, you must needs go. If you're watching today, say, you must needs go. Do we have, oh, he had to go. There we go. Thank you, Lamont, Victoria, Adrian, Geraldine Westcoop, Ruth. Come on, if you're watching today, say, you must needs go. Look at someone else and say, I must needs go. There, that was actually really good. Hallelujah, we must needs go. This word go is important. You'll hear it as I talk about the Pastor Jim referenced doorstep go. I'm going to share a little bit about it at the end of the service today. But Matthew 28:19 talks about this thing called the Great Commission. If you're familiar with Scripture and heard it, Jesus is ending his time on earth and he's telling people what they must do. Here's what you must do, and it's called this Great Commission. And he starts it off in Matthew 28:19 in the good news, and he says this, go. Come on, say it with me. Go. One more time. Ready? Go. Yeah. Go then to all peoples, to only the people you really like, to only the people that come to your church, to only the people that you're related to only the people that have the same skin color as you. No. All peoples, everywhere. Everywhere. And make them my disciples. Baptize them in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. So that first word go that we read in that other account meant to go through. This one's a little different. It's the Greek word peruo, P-O-R-E-U-O, and it means this, to lead or order one's life. Peruo, to lead or order one's life. Psalm 37:23 says this, the steps of a good man, a good woman, a good person are ordered by the Lord, and he delights in his way. And he delights in his way. Go, go, you must needs go. Thank you, Marlene. Thank you, Christy. You must needs go. See, Jesus had to be willing to reorder his life. He had a typical way they would have gone. It was a plan, but he felt compelled to reorder his life, change his plan, go a different direction, change his route to get to Galilee from Judea. Reorder means to arrange in a different way. Listen, church, this is where we're going to land. And I know some people are missing today, and I'm going to push everyone who calls themselves a part of this church to listen to this, because this is where we're going. But if part of your order does not include go or make disciples, then something in your life needs to be reordered. I'm going to say that again. Brad's getting excited. Yeah. I'm going to say that again so it really sticks and hurts. No. If part of your order does not include go or make disciples, then something in your life needs to be reordered. This isn't in my notes, but I'm going to put this. When is the last time you felt compelled or must needs or it behooved you to go? To make a disciple. See, some of us, some of you, some in City Center Church, we must allow ourselves to go through Samaria. Why is this important? John 4:39-42. Many of the Samaritans in that town believed in Jesus because the woman had said, "He told me everything I've ever done." Listen, Jesus interacts with her a bit more and reads her mail, gives her a word, and she gets so excited that she comes and she's like, "This is amazing," and tells everyone about this. Kim, you can, I don't know if you got it or you can bring it up here. I know it'll be distraction, but I'll distract during these verse readings. I don't know if I'm about to have a God idea, a good idea, or a terrible idea. But my 6-year-old son thought it was the cat's pajamas, so maybe I'm a little immature. But in my mind, this is going to work. But if it flops, well, it'll still be nice. But Brad's laughing because he had a part in making this happen, and we're all thinking, is this going to work? Many of the Samaritans in the town believed in Jesus because the woman had said, "He told me everything I've ever done." So when the Samaritans came to him, they begged him to stay with them. And Jesus stayed there 2 days. Many more believed because of his message. And they told the woman, "We believe now, not because of what you said, but because we ourselves have heard in him. And we know that he really is the Savior of the world." He is the Savior of the world. Listen, if Jesus doesn't go, if he doesn't must needs go, this scripture verse doesn't happen. And a whole culture, a whole people do not get reached for Jesus, or for the gospel and believe in Jesus as the Savior of the world. Listen, when you allow God to reorder you, God can reorder the world around you. When you allow God to reorder you, God can change, God can revolutionize, God can transform, God can impact the world around you. See, with one reordered route, Jesus changed the course for not only a woman, but for entire culture. And we know he did this because watch, when he first came, woo, more bags. When he first came, stay with me. I know it's distracting. What's going on over there? I'm distracted by it myself, and I know what it is. But when Jesus came, first he introduced believing on him. But further along, do you remember, if you know your scriptures, and maybe you don't, you can just kind of listen. There was that Samaritan woman who came up to Jesus, and she needed prayer for her daughter. And he's like, "Jesus, my daughter's sick." And Jesus gives her a response. I don't even know how to place it. He's like, "The children's bread is not for dogs." That kind of thing. And most would just be like, tail down like a dog, dragging But her response to that was, "But even dogs get to eat the crumbs from the master's table." See, I don't think this woman walks up to Jesus unless first she's heard about this other woman and Jesus coming in and him talking to Samaritans and them getting saved. So the first thing is people were getting saved. The second stage is a Samaritan walked up and Samaria was starting to get reached, to get healed. So that first thing, it unlocked the later Samaritan to walk up and goes, another lady talked to him, "I'm going to walk up with boldness." I don't think those things would have happened. And so it changed everything for a whole culture. Let me give you another quick testimony about carpet cleaning. And then we're going to wrap this up here and you're going to find out what's going on here. And again, I hope it works. Oh, Jesus. But about changing the path of history forever or shifting something. Many years ago when I was carpet cleaning, again, I had another job and I went into this house and there was a lady there that was in a wheelchair. And so I was asked to clean her carpet. She wanted them done because we had a quick drying method. She didn't want the carpets to be wet forever. And so I was cleaning marks, tire marks and different things and going through. And as I was cleaning the living room, or doing the carpets in the living room, on the side table was a book from Joyce Myers. And some of you may have heard this, maybe not. But there was a book by Joyce Myers, and coincidentally, or in God's divine order, we were having at the church where Joyce Myers was coming to our church. And I think that's the only time she's been in Saskatoon. And it was about a month later. And as a young person, I said, "I don't know when she's coming. I just heard that she's coming. Why don't you phone the church number, get the info, and they'll tell you all about it." So I felt the same thing. I felt like I had to order my day, order my job, reorder it to engage her with this topic. And there was, again, a bit of that struggle. "Oh, why am I saying this? Just go on with your day." I thought, no, I got to say it. So I said to her, "Listen, do you like Joyce Myers?" She goes, "Yeah, I love her," and had the book. I said, "She's coming to our church, I think, in a month." She's like, oh, that's great. So she ended up phoning, ended up going to the Joyce Myers meeting and plugging into the church that I went to. Fast forward a few years, we're starting a new school. And we need a teacher in the kindergarten room. And so we heard that she was a teacher and had a teaching degree, so we asked her, hey, are you willing to come into the kindergarten and teach half days in kindergarten? She said, yeah. Fast forward a few years later, hey, are you willing to do grades 1 to 3 full time? And she said, yeah, I'm absolutely willing to do that. Fast forward a few more years later, hey, are you willing to take on being principal? I'm going to move to some ministry things. Are you willing to do that? Fast forward to last year. Hey, can you take the upper room classroom? Are you willing to do that? Absolutely, I'm willing to do that. That person, and I'm going to get emotional because it's amazing, that I talked to many years ago that I didn't know when I said, hey, do you know Joyce Myers? Do you like her? Is none other than Jen Link, who works in our school right now. And through one momentary encounter, changed the course of both our lives forever. And I go, if I don't say anything that day, does this exist? And she is so integral. There is nobody that stirs me up in faith more than her. I get around her and I see what she does, that she hasn't lost her faith in God, that she's going after God and everything, and what she does. And I'm just blown away by that and the relationship and the blessing she's been to me. I know she watches online, so if you're watching, Jen. But that moment shifted a whole decades of a relationship that if I don't speak up, it may not exist today. And when I said it, I had no idea that it was going to change Samaria forever. Whew. Jen Link sent a heart. See, if you go to McDonald's, this is the dumbest thing ever I'm doing. Where's my son when I need him? He'll be so excited. Listen. When you go to order food, especially nowadays, but when you go to order food, you make your order, Big Mac, meal, quarter pounder, junior chicken, cheeseburger, the 3 burgers you like to get. And you order and you do the whole thing. At the end, wherever you order from, I want to say this, listen. For those of you who do Burger King and A&W and KFC, it's the same deal. You're not off the hook. All that sort of food, you're like, oh, I'm good. It's Taco Bell for me. No, it's all the same kind of pot, all right? So anyways, you order everything, and at the end of the order, they ask you this question. So don't say it yet. If you're online, don't type it if you're here and write the answer, because you'll answer it 20 seconds before they hear it. But if you're online today and you know when you go to order at a fast food, they always ask you this one question. Why don't you type the answer in right here? And then I'll ask you guys, what's the one question after you've ordered everything? They ask you this, and it's not, do you have a Vax card? We're not going to get into that. That's kind of new. That's not what they used to ask. What's the one thing they usually ask you before they finalize the order? Who can say it? Someone put up their hand and I'll ask you. Does anyone know? Rob. No. You've already ordered the fries, but yes. Is that everything? Okay, we're getting there. Dad, do you know? Come on, somebody's got it, Matt. No, I thought this was going to be easier. I guess there's many things they ask you. Come on, Tanika, what do you think? To stay in or to go. They always ask you, dine in or to go. How do you want your order? To stay in or to go? Oh, well, I was meaning if you're, sorry, I should have specified restaurant when you go in, because you're still on the drive-through thing. If you were here a few weeks ago, you know what that's all about. My failure chair for object lessons. I think Tanika answered it because she has the notes in front of her, so she was helping me out. She felt bad for me. When you go into a restaurant to order, I probably said drive-through and messed all that up. It behooves you to forgive me. You must needs forgive me for that. But anyways, so they'll ask you when you go in, are you going to stay in or to go? That's why the Vax card thing, in there, not on the drive-through. But stay in or to go. Listen, there's been a shift I think back in the day, you'd probably get a lot of people staying in and some saying to go. But now, majority, if not anyone, it's always to go now. Things have shifted, and especially with COVID. Everything now is to go. A few years ago, it might not have been, but everything now is to go, and COVID's accelerated it. See, I think culture has shifted from a dine-in culture to a to-go culture. We've got things like Skip the Dishes, Uber Eats, DoorDash, HelloFresh, Chef's Plate. See, listen, church, we have had a culture for the past decades of how we do church that has been a dine-in culture. It's been a stay-in culture, but I believe the new wineskin, the new thing God's doing, is he's shifting some things, and instead of just being able to go and dine in at McDonald's, guess what? We got some orders to go. Who likes cheeseburgers? Guess what? God's shifting some things in culture. Oh, I hope these stay together, and he's getting some things to go. Come on, who wants some stuff to go? What is happening here? Who thought cheeseburgers would be tossed in church? We're not done. There's more, but, well, yeah. So it worked, I'm guessing? I'm like, please. See, I believe something's shifting where instead of having to go or come to a place, listen, not only do they order it to go, you don't even go out of your house anymore. They come to you. The cheeseburgers are coming to you. See, we're going to be the ones to go, and they're going to get it to come to them. Church, it's shifted. Church, it's shifted. When we are open to go, people will be open to God, and Pastor Jim referenced that. When we are open to go and do good, people will be open to God to do good. I'm going to say that again. When we are open to go and do good, people will be open to God to do good. City Center Church, I'm going to toss a few more. Who wants one here? Sydney, I'm going for you. Nope, wait. Oh! That's like 10 rows back. Okay, listen. We got a lot here. Let's look at this. Did you see this? Look at delivered with the message title Reordered right on there. Thank you, Brad, for being a part of that. Homegrown McDonald's. What am I doing here? Listen, church. Listen, church. City Center Church, we're about to get some orders to go. We're about to get some orders to go. Listen, we've got some kindness that we have to take to go. We got some peace that we have to take to go. We got some healing that we have to take to go. We got some wholeness, some restoration, some friendship, some relationships, some love, some things that we got to go. Come on, church. 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 Listen. We got some miracles and things. Listen, instead of skip the dishes, we need to have skip the walls. Instead of Uber Eats, we're going to have Uber Meets, meet together and hang out. Instead of DoorDash, we have Doorstep Go Dash. Instead of HelloFresh, we're going to say hello, friends. Instead of Chef's Plates, I have no idea. I couldn't figure out what to do with Chef's Plate. I thought long and hard to make something fit with that, and I got nothing. What? Jesus date. For all you single folks, the Jesus date. I like that. Oh, a Jesus encounter or a Jesus date. I got that. That works. Thank you, Tanika, helping me out again. But watch this. This is going to require some of us to reorder our lives. That's why I think everybody who calls himself a part of the church needs to listen to this. Because if you consider yourself a part of City Center Church, you need to be ready to go. So what I'm going to do, if you got a burger, you're good. But this is what I'm doing with these ones, because I think some of you need to either say, yeah, I'm going to continue to do this, or somebody else needs to make a commitment and say, God, I'm willing to reorder some stuff in order to be able to go. So you need to come grab a cheeseburger as a symbol and say, I'm going to take it to go. Because I got some cheese here that you, come on, if you know you're supposed to be one to reorder your life and go, this is going to be something that I'm doing, I need to go. Once this gone, they're gone. But if you say, hey, I need to be able to go, I need to reorder my life, I'm going to be willing to go. When God says go, I must needs go through Samaria. You need to come grab a cheeseburger as a symbol to say, hey, I'm ready to take it to go. Who's ready to take it to go today? Come on, who's ready to take it? Come on, stand with me. Come on, music team. Who's ready to take it to go today? Who's ready to take it to go today? 4. Wait, I need one. Oh, wait, there you go. Is there anyone? Okay, good. Anybody? I don't need one. Xavier, sound with people. All right, sit back down. I realized I'm going to share a bit about Doorstep, and then we're done. Whew! Who's ready to start taking it to go? Man, I'm telling you, we're going to see God move. We're going to see people impacted, generations impacted. But here's how City Center Church is helping you to take it to go. We got this thing called Doorstep Go. We put this flyer together. This is a part of our fundraising and getting people out there. But we put this flyer together. Scott and I spent hours on this. He worked on a website. So we got a website called Mission 20. You may say, hey, what's Mission 20? Well, you probably saw the sign on that building for about a year and a bit, I think. And the reason why it got up so fast is because our other sign was falling apart. So we're like, we got to get a new sign up there, but we didn't do a lot with it, but we're now fully branding it. Mission 20 is going to be the outreach arm of City Center Church. And you go, why do you need a name for an outreach arm of City Center Church? Because guys, our outreach is going to be so vast and broad, it's going to need its own name. Come on, somebody needs to get excited about that. It's going to be something that needs its own branding. Mission 20, Mission on 20th Street. There's other things that we're working out about the name, but Mission on 20th Street. And so under that, one of the main things we're doing this year, it started last year because of COVID. We called it ChristmasCheer.go. And what we did is we put together Christmas care packages for, I ended up being about 170 families, almost 800 people in this community and a little broader. We flyered the neighborhood asking people to sign up. We had days where we put it together and then we delivered them. Who remembers that last year and who was a part of it? Who loved going to the doors and getting some of that impact and seeing that? Who hated it? No, I'm just kidding. Hold on. There's some great testimonies from it. But here's just some of the thank yous we got from last year. Thank you so much for the box of goodies. You guys were so cheerful too. Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. My family and I wish you and City Center a very Merry Christmas. Say thank you very much for the box of Christmas cheer. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. Thank you for the follow-up. I'm truly grateful for the real Christmas cheer. Not only is the hamper a welcome gift, but your own happiness and good wishes are the same things that we are instructed to be with each other. All others are the spirit of kindness. Thank you, thank you, thank you. See, last year we started out just at Christmas and we extended it and did it multiple times throughout the year. We took it to go. We took it to go, and this year we're really branding it and showing people that this is what we want to do all year long, and we need your help. And I'm hoping that what I ministered today isn't giving maybe moved you from sort of optional to this is something that God is doing and we need to be a part of. So mission20.ca is a website. You can go on there right now. If you /doorstep go, it takes you right to the doorstep page. There's all the information there. But what we need to do to help you to go is we're going to need some help doing this. First of all, I'll let you know we need 20 delivery teams of at least 2 people. So that's at least 40 or more people to do this. That's on December 17th, delivering. We need people to drop off flyers. Next Sunday, we're going to have flyers for you to deliver starting from Sunday and through the next week in this community here. That only takes about an hour, right? And it'll be in this community. One of the Tuesdays, I think on Tuesday, you can leave that up. Oh, wait. If you can get it where it comes up here but doesn't take over the live screen possibly, Xavier, or go back and forth. I don't know if I have those dates in front of me. I can look. What's the Tuesday? Okay. December 7th, we are going to deliver flyers, and then on Tuesday, December 7th, with some of the us groups, but everybody else who needs to be a part of this, we're actually going to follow up with a door knock. Because I don't think everybody reads flyers, and I'm convinced we could door knock 4-block radius within here and fill our 200 families. And so we're going to register some people right there and say, hey, did you get the flyer? Are you interested in this? And listen, not only are we sitting, here's the purpose of this, okay? Let me just tell you the vision a little bit. I went a little quicker with preaching so I could do some of this. But the difference, there's a lot of great things that happen during Christmas. Adopt a family, lots of things are getting, giving to people and helping take care of needs. But where we believe God is directing us to do it with the people in here is we don't only just want to meet a need, we want to build a relationship. We want to build a relationship that continues to meet needs. You've heard the saying, give a man a fish, feed him for a day, teach him to fish, feed him for a lifetime. So we're hoping that through relationships, we're not there just at Christmas when everyone kind of goes, oh yeah, we'll be, it's a good time to give. But guess what? Needs are still there in February. Needs are still there in May. Needs are still there in July. And I believe this is going to grow. We're starting with food, but I believe we're going to get support where we start to meet needs. If somebody says, hey, our appliances broke down and we have no idea how to do it, we say, hey, we can figure something out for you. And maybe we can deliver appliances. And as we go around and do good, it's going to open for their hearts for God to do good in their life. Trying to just not sell you, but get you excited about what's in our heart. But it's relationship. And I believe this, that you may have someone on your delivery, it's going to be 8 to 10 people, and you'll be delivering with them 4 or 5 times a year. And we literally hand it to you on a silver platter, evangelism on a platter, where we give you something and say, hey, just go bless them. And all you do is door knock and bless them, pray at the end, do some of that. Hey, I want to say this because I want to make sure. Maybe you're not a Jesus follower here. Maybe you're watching and you're like, I don't know about this Jesus thing. Guess what? At the base of humanity, going out and doing good is a great thing to do. So maybe you're not a Jesus follower. If you say, I like the idea of going and doing good, then guess what? We can partner you with someone who's willing to pray, and you can just go be a blessing to someone. Because that's a good thing to do. That's what we should be doing as base humans. All right. So you go build a relationship multiple times throughout the year. But my prayer and belief is this: if we do this right, you're going to build some strategic relationships that it's not just at Valentine's Day. It's not just when we have something for Halloween or have something for Easter or Mother's Day. You're going to call them up and be like, hey, God's got a word for you. You're going to say, hey, do you want to go for coffee? I just want to bless you. And we're going to start meeting not only just physical needs, but emotional, spiritual needs. And God's going to get a hold of their life. And guess what, guys? I see this. You talk about people who talk about revival and God moving. Guess what? I fully know it can still happen on the platform, but I believe it's going from the platform to the doorstep. And you're going to be sitting at a well, tired or just doing something, and a word's going to come by, and a woman from Samaria is going to come by, and you're going to have a word. You're going to have something that changes their life, and then changes their family life, and then changes their whole extended family, and changes a whole area. And it starts by saying, I am ready to take it to go. So we have some forms. Bob and some other people have forms. We're asking for sign up today. Flyers, door knocking, a prep night, and we need at least 20 couples to deliver. I want to say this while they're handing it out. Teens! Who's a teen here? Put up your hand. Teens from 12 to graduation. Your teen party is going to be the week before, but on this day, on the 17th, December 17th, teens, we need your help. Okay, this is how we need your help. I'm going to say this graciously. We have some people who are delivering that need a strong, strapping young person to help them carry the packages. Can I get an amen, Pat and Murray? So we need your help to go with some delivery people to be a support to them. and hold the packages and help them out where they can, because they were heavy last year. Also, for those of you, because I know there's been some concern about Fridays and Saturdays and delivering, we are going to provide flashlights that somebody can hold so that you can actually see some stuff. And we're going to phone call first to confirm, and we're going to tell people that they need to have their light on or be outside. So we got some things to make sure it goes a little bit better, but we need your help. 20 couples, listen, and I'm going to say this to some of our leaders on Tuesday when we meet, but if you're comfortable in this and there's somebody who hasn't signed up and you did this last year and maybe they're not sure, why don't we bring them along and start showing them what this is all about? Guys, if you think this is going away, you're wrong. This is where God, the new wineskin that I believe God is shifting some things, and he's saying, it's time to get it to go. All right, so when you're done that, guess what you get to do? Take it to the welcome booth after service. Scott and Angie are there. You can hand them in. We'll be getting a hold of you. Check off on there as many things as you're willing to do, and then we'll put together some volunteer things. And if you do check something off, you don't necessarily get a confirmation unless it's a delivery team, okay? If it's a delivery team, we'll probably get a hold of you and talk to you about who you're going to deliver to. If it's to flyer, come next Sunday ready to take some flyers and deliver. If it's door knock, come on December 7th. On Tuesday at 7:30, come. 7. I moved them to 7 because I wanted it to be a little earlier. 7 o'clock on Tuesday, December 7th. December 14th, prep night. Show up Tuesday. We'll probably create an event on Facebook. It is going to be amazing, and we're going to impact our community. I don't know. Was that clear enough? Okay. What time is it? 12:07. Woo! Who's excited about some of this? I'm ready to hear more testimonies. There's one of Charlene and Shelly going out, and someone's life changed. They were bitter at God for some of the circumstances they went to, and they got to minister life, and the person rededicated their life to God. There's another story that isn't necessarily, saving, but my parents, they were just phoning and saying, hey, is there anything we can do for you? And the lady, the grandma who was overseeing the house, was in the hospital, and because of COVID stuff, there was no visitors, and her granddaughter was about to have a birthday, and there was no one to celebrate a birthday for her. So my parents bought a cake, bought a present, and delivered to the house and impacted them. I love stuff like that. That's being the church. Come on. And so we come on Sundays to get revved up, to get in the presence, to go be the church to everyone around us. All right. We're going to worship for a few minutes. Listen, if this isn't your church home, you're new with us today, and you say, hey, I've been here, I'm ready to go, then you can do a nice quiet dismissal. If you're watching online and your kids are getting crazy, I've been there, I understand it. Why don't you play the worship in the back, and you can move to making lunch. But we're going to take a few minutes to just let God's presence come in. Next week, you want to be here because I'm going to talk to you about what motivates us to do this. Because if we don't have the right motivation, it becomes works. Okay, so you want to come next week, and I'm going to talk to you about what moved Jesus to do these things as well. So you don't want to miss it. We're going to just take time always to worship. Listen, if you need